Human resource management is the term used for managing the resources in an organization for maximum productivity. A person who works in human resource management is known as HR. Companies need resources for their work, but to bring effectiveness and efficiency in the work done, they need HRs. These HRs are responsible for recruitment, selection, training, and mentoring the people for an organization, as well as maximizing employee performance in service of an employee's strategic objectives. Human resource management ensures the right quality and quantity of resource in a workplace, simultaneously concerning themselves with the employee's mental and emotional well-being. HRs also create opportunity to facilitate and motivate individuals and group of employees to grow and advance their career. It is a finer approach to managing people at the workplace, focusing on acquiring, developing, utilizing, and maintaining human resources. In simple terms, we can say that human resource management is the field that is required in every aspect of the organization to hire skilled professionals for the betterment and progress. With the increase in job intensity and rapidly changing technologies, there is an increase in the demand for skilled HRs. In this course, you will learn the theoretical as well as practical aspect of human resource management. So without any further delay, let's start the video.
If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell so that you don't miss out on any new updates or video releases from Great Learning. If you enjoy this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, so make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on the video for any queries or suggestions and I'll respond to your comments. Hello, my name is Shantanu Rana and I am going to teach you this course on Human Resource Management by Great Learning. We all know that humans are regarded as the most valuable and one of the most important resource for any organization. So whenever we talk at an organizational level, it becomes very important to manage those human resources. Now, how do you do that? What are the different aspects involved in it? All of that we will be exploring in this particular course. So without wasting much of your time, let's move forward and have a look at the agenda first. So the first thing that we are going to cover in this particular course is Introduction to HRM. Whenever I say HRM, that simply means Human Resource Management. And we will be using this term HRM throughout this course. So please do remember it. Then we will have a look at functions of HRM. What are the different functions that the HRs are involved in? Then evolution of HRM, how HR or HRM has improved or evolved over the period of time. We won't be looking at the historic evolution, but we'll touch upon how it has changed over the different period of time. Then manpower planning, which is also known as human resource planning. Then job analysis. In job analysis, we will also discuss about job evaluation and job description. Whenever you apply for any job vacancy, there's always a JD or the job description that you get. How that is different from job analysis and job evaluation, all of that we will be exploring in this particular course. Then recruitment and selection. So generally in layman's term, we call this entire process of recruitment, selection and onboarding just recruitment. But that's actually not the case. Recruitment is different, selection is different, and then onboarding is different. And all of that we will be differentiating and we will be discussing about different steps involved in these processes in this module. Then compensation and benefits. So this will involve your monetary benefits as well as non-monetary benefits and other things as well, such as leave benefits or maybe your retirement benefits. All of that comes under your incentive part, so the benefits part, and we will be discussing about it in this particular module. Then the training and development, which is very important for employees as well as for the organization. We will see how that can be done, how training can be done. We will be discussing a method called AD method for that as well. Then performance management, how performance is managed, how feedbacks are given. All of that we will be discussing in this. Then finally, at the end of this course, we will discuss about employee engagement. We will also touch upon employee satisfaction and employee happiness, how these three terms are different and which one is the best out of these three. And that all we will be exploring at the end of this course. So let's move forward and cover each of these topics one by one. So let's try to understand that what exactly is HRM or Human Resource Management. But before that, we will discuss what exactly are resources and what are human resources, and then finally we'll discuss about this term called HRM. As you can see on the screen, the question number one is that what are resources? Resources are the inputs you require to produce something. The end result could be either products or services. For example, land, raw materials, machines, people, etc. All of these are nothing but examples of resources, inputs basically. Let's just take an example of a land. So a land can be utilized or can be used to produce maybe crops, wheat, rice, anything. So that's nothing but an input. And an input is called a resource because there's something productive coming out of it as an end result in the form of a product or a service. So when we talk at an organizational level, what are human resources? Human resources refer to the workforce or the people working in an organization. Definitely, people are one of the most valuable and one of the most important resource for any organization because they are the ones who are making use of all other resources, all other infrastructure, all other things to put it into the right place at the right time to make sure that the objectives are met. So definitely humans are resources and in fact very important resources at an organization level when we talk in the corporate world. So there is a small note as well that humans are regarded as the most valuable resource because they make the best use of nature to generate more resource. Just assume that we have machines, we have raw materials, we have land, we have each and everything, but we don't have the people. Is there a point of having all those things? Not really, because there will be no one who can put it into the use, who can get something productive out of it. There's only one thing that can make it possible, and that is nothing but the people, the human resources. And that's why managing those human resources is also important. And that's what this entire course is all about. So there's a very famous quote by Henry Ford that you can take my factories, burn up my buildings, but give me my people and I'll build the business right back again. Because business can be built again with the help of people. But there's nothing which can be taken as an input to give us people. People are the one who are making use of all other resources. They are the most valuable resources at an organization level for sure. That's why we are studying about human resources management. Since humans are very, very important resource, it is also very, very important to manage them. Now, how do we do that? It is not very easy. In fact, it's quite complex because we as humans are very, very different. We all have different interests, different belief systems, different values. So when we come at the same place, there's always some conflict. There are always some changes, some external changes, some internal changes. But in spite of all of that, how do we manage human resources? That is the main thing that we are going to discuss in this particular course. Now, finally, let's look at this term called HRM. What exactly is human resource management? So as you can see on the screen, that HRM involves the productive use of people in achieving organizational goals and the satisfaction of individual employee needs. In other words, HRM is the management of human resources by attracting, developing, utilizing, retaining the human resources to achieve the organizational goals. What are resources? Nothing but the inputs which are used to produce something productive, a product or a service. Then people are also a very good resource because they can manage all other resources. So they are called your human resources. Now managing those human resources is human resource management. That is HRM. It involves your attracting, developing, utilizing and retaining the people. Attracting means all of these job descriptions that are sent to you by the HRs and then you apply for a job. You get selected, recruitment, onboarding. All of that is nothing but a part of attracting. Then developing. Once you are hired, you are trained because there is always some mismatch between the competencies which are required and between the skills and knowledge that you actually have. So to match that up, there's always some training and some development required. That is nothing but you're developing. Then utilizing. How to put you at the right place at the right time. So that's what utilizing is. So that the entire process is very, very productive. There is no unproductive work that is being done. Then retaining, engaging the employees, making them feel satisfied and happy so that they can retain. Because whenever you are hired in an organization, there's always a lot of cost which is attached with you in developing you, in training you, and finally teaching you how exactly to do the work that is required to be done. So no company will want you to just, come to an organization and then eventually leave it after a few months. They want to retain you as well. So these are the four main things whenever we talk about managing human resources. So the next thing that we are going to discuss is functions of HRM or human resource management. What are the different functions that HRs are involved in? Let's have a look at this thing. So point number one is manpower or human resource planning. The first thing that you need to do is you need to analyze that how many people are actually required for a particular job. Let's say there's a sales team. You need to realize that how many people are actually required to make sales, to meet those targets, whatever targets we have as an organization. What are the different people and what kind of people are required in a particular job role? Whether they have the right skills, they have the knowledge, they have the ability to do that particular work or not. So that includes your first two steps that are written over here. Manpower planning, as in to realize how many people are required to do a particular job. Then job analysis, that is to evaluate that what are the competencies required to do a particular job so that they can hire the right kind of people, which is nothing but your third step, recruitment and selection. So once you have analyzed that these many people are required, so either the people will be in excess. If the people are in excess, then we can apply some schemes, let's say retirement or something, and we can remove those people. Then it will be a good balance. But if there is a lack of people, then we need to hire more people. How do you hire more people? First, you do the job analysis. You evaluate what are the competencies required for a particular job. Then you write the job description. Then you attract people. You recruit people. There are various platforms for that. We will be discussing about recruitment and selection later on in much more detail. But as of now, what's important to understand is then people are recruited and then screening, interviews, group discussions, all of that happens to analyze whether that person is a right person for that particular job role. Once that is done and people are hired, people are selected, then onboarding. We need to make sure that whoever is hired in the organization, they are aware of the vision and the mission of the organization. They should know what exactly are the organizational goals. What is the culture of the organization? What are the different rules and regulations that they need to follow? Each and everything they should know. So that basic training is a must, which is nothing but your onboarding. Then training and development. Why do we need training? Because whenever we hire somebody, it does not mean that they have all the skills and all the abilities which are required for a particular job role. There will always be some mismatch between the competencies that they have and whatever is required in the particular job role. So to fill that gap, we need to train them. We need to develop. And that's what training and development is all about. Then performance management. Whatever work the employees are doing, we need to make sure that we give them proper feedback. Feedback is given to managers as well as the people who are working under them, whether it's functional or it's, in whatever way. We need to make sure that their performance is evaluated. Ratings are given. Accordingly, we will be talking about performance appraisal and everything as well. We will be discussing each of these functions in much more detail later on. As of now, you just need to understand that what are the different things that HRs are involved in. What are the different things in the HRM, Human Resource Management Department. The next one is compensation and reward, which is nothing but your salary part, the taxation part. All of that is nothing but your part of compensation and different benefits also. It can be non-monetary benefits as well. Then employee engagement and retention. We will be seeing, what are the different things by which we can engage the employees. That is also nothing but the job of an HR, because they need to retain those people that they have hired. When we hire somebody, we do not want them to leave very easily because we have trained them. We have put so much effort, money and time in hiring them. So we do not want to go through that process once again. That's why if we have somebody who's doing the job and they are good for it, we do not want to let them go very easily. So it's very important for the employees to be satisfied, happy, and to be engaged in whatever they are doing. They should be invested in the job and eventually they will retain. So these are the different functions that an HR will perform in an organization. So now that we have understood that what are the different functions of human resource management, it's time for us to understand that how HR or HRM has evolved over a period of time. Here we won't be looking at the historic evolution or the industrial revolution. We will just be looking at like how things have improved over the period of time and what exactly is the stage that we are at right now in the present. So initially, it was entire a slaves and conscript phase, where it was believed that there's one boss and he's the superior one, all others are inferior. He will give the instructions, others will take the instructions, and that's it. It was absolute superiority and divine right of the boss, of the manager basically. Then things changed and owners are industrious, ambitious, and thrifty, but workers are not. Then there was a belief system of authoritarian drive system, which means owners are industrious, they are ambitious, but workers are not. They just need to follow what the manager or the boss is saying. Then things changed again, and there was a phase when it was believed that these people who are doing the work, they also need something that was nothing but money, income. Managers have the knowledge and workers want income in the most efficient way possible. So people used to believe that there will be a manager, he will give clear instructions, people will do the work, but at the same time, they will want income. They will want some monetary benefits as a return of the work that they have done for the managers or the bosses. And currently, it's the stage where it is believed that only monetary benefits or only the money is not enough. We all are humans, we all are different. Your belief system is different, my belief system is different. We all have different interests. Maybe I take work as my curse, or maybe I take it as my social identity, or maybe I look at work as nothing but a way to earn money. There are different ways we look at work. So whenever we go to an organization and we work, there are different ways in which we interact with people, in which we behave. Sometimes these are the monetary benefits that we are attracted towards. Sometimes these are the non-monetary benefits. Sometimes it is the culture of the organization. So now this thing is realized and we say that workers have psychological differences and needs, and social relations are also important. And that's nothing but employee engagement, employee satisfaction, employee happiness. So now in very simple words, if I have to break this entire thing, what I can tell you is there are two things which are very, very important for the organization as well as for the employees. For the organization, we need to make sure that the organizational objectives are met. Whatever the mission or the vision of the organization is, that is met. We are working towards it. And at the same time, for an individual, we need to make sure that he has some individual needs. He needs monetary benefits as well as non-monetary benefits. The culture of the organization should also be good. So it's a give and take policy. We will make sure that the organizational objectives are met, but at the same time, the organization will have to make sure that my needs are met too. Because workers have psychological differences and needs, and for them, social relations are also very, very important. So this is the current phase that we are working toward. So that's the entire evolution of human resource management. All right. So now moving forward, let's discuss about manpower planning. So from now onwards, what exactly we are going to do is whatever functions we have seen that these are the different functions in the HRM, human resource management, we will take each of those functions and we will discuss it in details. So the number one is manpower planning, that you also known as human resource planning. So as you can see on the screen, that manpower planning entails putting the right number of people, the right sort of people. When I say right sort of people, that means people with the right competencies for the particular job. They have the right knowledge, the right skills, and the right abilities to perform the task that is given to them. They're in the right place at the right time, doing the right things and achieving organizational objectives. Whenever we are talking about anything in human resource management, two things will always be common. Number one, we need to meet the organizational goals. Number two, we need to meet the individual needs. Those are the two things that you will see which will be always present whenever we talk discussing about any topic in human resource management, in any functions we are talking about. In simple words, you can say that manpower planning is the practice of estimating the optimal number of employees required to complete a project, job, or objective on time. It is also known as human resource planning. Let me explain this to you with the help of a very simple example. Let's say we have a new project in an organization. So, being an HR, I need to see that how many people are actually required for that particular job role, for that particular project. If there is a project, there will be a goal as well. There will be an objective that we need to meet. So, to meet that objective within the set deadline, how many people are required? Let's say 5 people are required. But if I see that there are actually 9 people that we have, then those remaining 4 people, we can use them somewhere else to be more productive. Because for that particular task, we need only 5 people and not 9 people. So there is excess of 4 people that we can utilize somewhere else. Maybe we can apply some schemes, maybe we can use them in some other project, some other department, something like that. Because there are so many projects going on within the same department as well. Let's say we talk about the sales team. So in the sales team, there's a project for which only 5 people are required, but we have 6. So we can utilize that 6th person in some other role within the same department, within the sales team. And if there is lack of people, then being an HR, I need to hire more people. I need to attract more and more people who can apply for the job vacancy, and eventually we can do the screening, interviews and everything, and we can hire them, train them, onboard them, and eventually they will do the job for us. They should have the right skills, knowledge, abilities. So all of that, this entire evaluation is nothing but your manpower planning to estimate how many optimal number of people are required to do a particular project, to meet a particular goal, to do a particular type of task within the organization. Since it is nothing but planning the human resources, that is optimal number of humans which are required to do a task, it is also known as human resource planning, HR planning. Now let's try to understand that what exactly is the need for manpower planning. Why can't we just hire people randomly? What is the need of doing all of this planning and plotting in order to make sure that we are productive? So point number 1 is shortages and surpluses can be identified, allowing for prompt action whenever it is needed. If you won't do the manpower planning, you will never get to know that what exactly is the optimal number of people who are required to do a particular task. And the entire process will not be very productive. It will be a lot of unproductive work. People who can be utilized somewhere else will be doing something that is not even required for them. So we have to make sure that right people are there doing the right things at the right time. So to make sure that everything is aligned, we need to plan that how many people are required, optimal people are required to do a particular task. And that's nothing but the need for manpower planning. Then point number 2 is manpower planning underpins all recruitment and selection programs. Whenever you are recruiting, you are selecting, the first step of that entire recruitment process is nothing but HR planning, your manpower planning. First, you need to see that how many people we currently have. Then we need to see how many people are actually required to do the task. And if there is a lack of people that we currently have, we need to hire more people. So according to manpower planning, we have to actually plan the entire process of recruitment and selection. Then it also helps in reducing the labor costs by identifying excess staff and hence avoiding unnecessary resources. Because if you are doing the manpower planning, you will always figure out whether we have excess of staff or we have lack of staff. If we have excess of staff, then we need to make strategy to make sure that we utilize those people at the right place doing the right thing. And if we have lack of staff, then we will plan for recruitment and selection. That basically summarizes this entire process of manpower planning. The last point is that when resources are used to their maximum potential, productivity rises. Definitely, let's say there are 5 people required to do a particular job, but only 4 people are doing. That will be a very unproductive process. To make it productive, we need to make sure that right amount of people are there to do the right kind of thing. And that's nothing but need for manpower planning. We need to plan it properly to make sure that the entire process is productive and objectives are eventually met. Now let's see what are the different steps involved in manpower planning. So when you are in the HRM department, human resource management department, how will actually you go about this entire process of planning human resources or planning manpower? So step one is analyzing the organizational goals. As I already told you, that will always be common whenever we are discussing about any functions within the HR department. So first you need to analyze what exactly are the organizational goals, what exactly is the vision and the mission of the organization. Then you will analyze that what exactly is the current manpower inventory. How many people we currently have who are doing the task or doing the project for which we are talking about right now. The next step is future manpower forecasting. We need to forecast how many people will be required to do the particular task, optimal number of people. Then estimating manpower gaps, how many people are doing the work right now and how many are actually supposed to do. What exactly is that gap? Let's say 5 people are doing the work right now, but according to your planning and plotting, you figure out that 4 people are required. So there's excess of 1 person. That's nothing but your manpower gap. Then formulating the final action plan. So if there is a gap, there is a lack of people, we need to hire. So that will go to your recruitment and selection process. If there is excess, then we need to strategize in a different way. Then according to this manpower planning, we basically formulate the final action plan, how we are supposed to go about this entire process. Then monitoring and feedback. That will be constant throughout this manpower planning. If we hire people, we need to see whether that was right or a wrong decision. We need to collect feedback all the time. We need to monitor and supervise this entire process to be relevant within the organization. So these are the different steps involved in this function called manpower planning. Now let's try to understand that what exactly is job analysis. We will also see that how this term is different from job evaluation and job description. So as you can see on the screen, the job analysis refers to a systematic process of collecting all information about a particular job, including skill set requirements, roles, responsibilities, processes to create a valid job description. So job analysis is nothing but analyzing a job to find out that what are the skills, abilities and knowledge which is required to perform that job. And the main aim of doing job analysis is to prepare a job description. And it also helps in performance management, which is nothing but your second step. The job analysis is a crucial stage in ensuring that the best candidate is hired. The employer can use job analysis to help with recruitment, selection, performance management, remuneration, and then benefits, etc. So whenever a job is analyzed, according to that, the HRs are going to hire the people. If we do not know that what exactly is the skill set required to perform this particular job role, to perform this particular task, then we are never going to hire the right kind of people. So in order to make sure that we hire the right kind of people who possess the particular skills and abilities, we have to analyze that what are the skills which are actually required to perform that task. And that's nothing but your job analysis. Now, how do you conduct a job analysis? What exactly is the process like? So step number 1 is collect information about a position. Let's say you are going to hire for business development intern, or let's say you are going to hire for some technical role, let's say software developer. So the first step that you need to do is you need to go to the people who are actually doing that job right now, and you need to take suggestions from them, from the managers as well as from the other employees, to make sure that you get to know their point of view, because they are the ones who are doing this job. So it will always be better to know from them that what exactly are the skills which are required to do the task that they are actually doing. What are the abilities required? What are their roles and responsibilities? So always a feedback is taken and information is collected. Then examine the importance of each task and competency. Let's say you get to know that this particular skill is required. Then you need to figure out that why that skill is required. Let's say when we talk about you are going to hire for business development or in the sales team, empathy is very important skill. So you will understand by talking to people, by collecting information, that the person that we are going to hire as a business development intern should be empathetic. But why empathy is a good skill for this particular job role? You need to figure that out. You need to examine the importance of each task and skill. Then research industry standards. In each and every industry, there are so many organizations. You need to see what exactly others are doing, what exactly is the job analysis as per other standards as well, as per others organizations as well, so that you are relevant within the business world. Then revise job description and standards and use data to make changes. Whenever you implement something, there are always some results. So what was the process that you took last time? What exactly were the changes that you make? Collect all of that data and then analyze it. So that's nothing but how job analysis is actually done. You collect the information, you make changes in the job description, and then you keep on revising it. It's not like one-time process. It is always like you collect the feedback and then you make those changes. It will always be an ongoing process of job analysis. Now, there's always some confusion between job analysis, job description, and job evaluation. So here I will try to tell you that what exactly is the difference between these three terms. So first of all, let's try to see that what is the difference between job analysis and job description. So job analysis is an in-depth examination of a particular job. This includes your KSA, that is nothing but your knowledge, skills, and abilities to perform a particular task, to meet the objectives of a particular project, or you can say to work effectively and efficiently. It is very useful for preparing job description, but it is not what job description is. It is the thing which is required to write the job description, to document the job description. So what is job description? It is the characteristic of a particular job. It's a document that indicates what the job covers. So whenever you apply for a particular job, you get a JD from the HR. The JD is nothing but your job description. So what you get is not job analysis, that is job description. But what the HRs have done to write the job description, that is your job analysis. So first the job analysis is done and then the JD or job description is designed. So that's the second step of the process. So that is the basic difference between analysis and description of a job. Now, what is the difference between job analysis and job evaluation? These two terms are also used interchangeably in layman's term, but there's actually a difference between them that I'm going to tell you. So job analysis, as we have already seen, is the study of each and every aspect of a specific job. That what exactly are the competencies required for a particular job? That is your job analysis. What is job evaluation? It is an attempt to assess the value of a job in relation to other jobs. It is used to determine a fair wage of a job. So the main difference between job analysis and job evaluation is the aim. The main aim of job analysis is to design a job description, and it also helps in performance management. But the main aim of job evaluation is to design that entire compensation and the salary part. So it is used to determine a fair wage of a job. And it's basically, when we talk about job analysis, it's about finding out that what are the skills, knowledges required to do that particular task. But job evaluation is about assessing the value of a job in relation to other jobs. So it's comparative. Job analysis is quite comprehensive and detailed. But job evaluation, on the other hand, is quite comparative, and it is mainly used to determine the compensation or the salary part. So these are the three different terms which are used, and people are generally confused about it. So make sure you are not confused about it and you're very clear that what exactly is job analysis, what exactly is job description, and what exactly is job evaluation. Now it's time for us to understand that what exactly is the meaning of recruitment, selection, and onboarding. So generally, in the layman's term, whenever we say recruitment, people think that it includes your selection as well as your onboarding. But when we are talking specifically in HRM, that is human resource management, these three terms are different. So first of all, I'm going to tell you that what exactly is the difference between these three terms, that is recruitment, selection, and onboarding. Then I will also be telling you that what exactly are the steps involved in each of these processes. So as you can see on the screen, that recruitment is the process of finding candidates for the vacant post, vacancy of the job, and attracting them to apply for it. Now, how can we attract people? Sometimes by monetary benefits, sometimes talking about the culture of the organization, sometimes talking about the work culture. There are different scenarios by which we can attract the candidates. So that attracting parts, advertising about the job vacancy, that is nothing but your recruitment. Then the next step is selection. So once people have applied for that particular job vacancy, we need to find the best candidates. How do we do that? That's nothing but your selection. It is the process of selecting the best candidate from a pool of candidates and extending an offer of employment to them. We need to see whether they have the right skills, whether they have the right abilities, whether they will be able to perform that particular task that they are supposed to perform, or they will not be able to do that. If they will be able to do so, we will hire them, we will select them, we will shortlist them. If they won't be able to do that, we will have to eliminate that application. So that's how selection works. Then the last part is onboarding. So once people have selected and they are a part of the team, we need to make them feel comfortable within the team. We need to make sure they are aware about the goals, core values, vision, and mission of the organization. So for that, we have to do the basic training, which is nothing but your onboarding. It's the process of integrating a new employee into a company's culture and providing them with the tools and information they need to become a productive member of the team. They need to know what exactly are the rules and regulations, the core values of the organization, so that they can feel that they are a part of the team and they can work being very, very productive. So that's how this entire process works. First of all, you attract the people, then you select them, then you onboard them. That is recruitment, selection, and onboarding. If you see in much more detail, let me tell you, so there's an arrow sign, as you can see, which moves from job vacancy to onboarding. So how it actually works? So first of all, we do the manpower planning. As we have discussed, that is one of the first functions of HRM, manpower planning, which is also known as human resource planning. By manpower planning, we get to know that there's a lack of people. If there's a lack, we do the job analysis. We get to know what is the KSA, that is knowledge, skills, and abilities are required to do that task. After the job analysis, the job description is documented. Then we do the attracting part, that is recruitment part, sourcing, advertising. That is nothing but your recruitment. We attract people to apply for that particular job role. Then assess and interview candidates. That is nothing but your selection. Sometimes we take tests, different types of interviews, group discussions. There can be so many scenarios just to make sure that we hire the right candidates at the right time to do the right job. Then finally, selection and offer of employment and onboarding. Once people are selected, right candidates are selected, then we make sure they make themselves feel like they are a part of the team. They are aware about the vision and mission of the organization, and they are good to go. That's nothing but your onboarding. So that's how this entire cycle works. Now, let me tell you what exactly are the different tasks which are involved in recruitment and selection. So first of all, let's talk about recruitment. So step number 1 is examining or evaluating the job specifications. You get to know what are the skills, abilities required to do a particular task. And according to that, you are going to attract people. Then posting the job opening, all of that, your advertising, sourcing part is nothing but your job opening, by which you will be attracting people. Sometimes it's monetary benefits that will attract people. Sometimes it's the culture of the organization. Sometimes it's some non-monetary benefits. There can be various scenarios for that. It depends upon the HRs, what thing they want to showcase to attract people to apply for that particular job vacancy. Then getting people to apply for the position and keeping track of their responses. It's not just people attracting people. It's also about keeping a track of whatever responses we are getting. Then examining the applications, whatever responses we are getting, we need to analyze that entire data so that we can find a short list. Then making a short list of candidates, which is your last point. Then the selection process begins. So once that is done, then we do the screening. Now we know what exactly is the skill required by the candidate, what exactly is the knowledge required by the candidate. Based upon that, we shortlist the candidates, we screen them, we eliminate unsuitable candidates, whatever unsuitable profiles we have who will not be suitable to perform that task will be eliminated. Then we conduct a test. The test can be technical, psychometric, anything based upon the job role. Then interviews are taken, your interviews by the managers, by the HRs. That also depends upon the skill set which is required for the particular job, and according to that, interviews will be taken. Then checking references, that is your background verification check or anything, and the medical test. So that is nothing but your part of selection. So how this entire cycle works? First of all, you have a job vacancy, then you recruit people. If there's a lack of people, then you select them, take interviews, group discussions, everything. Once people are selected, then finally we onboard them so that they are aware about the rules and regulations and the core values of the organizations, and they are good to go. So it's always recruitment, selection, and onboarding. That's how this entire process works. Make sure these three terms are different. These are used interchangeably when we are talking in layman's term. But if you are going to be a professional in HR department or in HRM, human resource management, make sure you understand the difference between these three terms. There are different tasks which are involved in these three terms that we have already seen in this particular module. Now let's discuss about compensation and benefits. So as you can see on the screen, first thing is, what exactly is compensation? Compensation is pay provided by an employer to an employee in return for work. Whenever an employee is working towards the organizational mission, they are working towards meeting the organizational objectives. That's when they are giving their time, energy, and effort. For that, they need to get some monetary benefits. That's nothing but your compensation. So basic model for compensation plans include internal alignment and external competitiveness. So whenever we say that this is the particular salary which is decided for this particular job role, how do we do that? There are two factors in that. One is your internal alignment and one is your external competitiveness. So internal alignment makes pay comparisons among jobs or skill levels inside a single organization. And external competitiveness makes pay comparisons with competitors, other organizations that hire people with similar knowledge, skills, and abilities. So let's say you are going to hire for a business analyst in this XYZ private limited organization. How are we going to decide what exactly should be the salary or the compensation for this particular job role? First of all, we will see that what are the different levels within the organization, what is the organizational structure, and where this role will fit in. Then we need to compare this job role with the other job roles. That in the sales department, there's one job role, in the marketing department, there's one job role, and at what level that job role is there. We will compare all those job roles and we will see that, okay, this is something that we are providing at this level in this department. So this is something that we can provide in this department at the same level. So that is nothing very internal to the organization. It's internal alignment, because we are just discussing within the organization, within the different departments though. We are not going out of the organization, but we need to go out of the organization as well, because we need to be relevant in the corporate world. So we need to compare whatever we have decided with the industry standards. So let's say you are going to get into an edtech company or e-commerce company. Then we need to see that whatever job role, whatever skills are required to do that particular task, and if somebody is coming in that role, what exactly is the compensation that is provided by other organizations in the same industry. And based upon these two things, that is internal alignment as well as external competitiveness, we decide the actual compensation. Then there are two elements of compensation as written in the end, that one is fixed pay and one is variable pay. So fixed pay is your base pay and variable pay is your something which keeps on changing. So sometimes it's a part of your performance appraisal. If you're in the sales team, it depends upon the incentives as well. So there's always a base pay and there's always a variable pay. In certain roles, variable pay can be zero as well. It's only the base pay. But most of the times, there's always some variable pay which comes with performance or some other factors. Now, let's talk about benefits. Now, why do we need to discuss benefits, and what exactly is this role of benefits when we are talking about HRM? Can you just think about it for a while? I want all of you to pause the screen and think about it. We have seen in evolution of HRM that initially there was a belief system that there's a boss, he will give clear instructions, people will take those instructions and they'll do whatever the boss is going to tell them. In return, they need just one thing, that is income, in the most efficient way possible. So that was a give and take policy. They'll work for the boss and the boss is going to give them income in the most efficient way. So that was a belief system in the beginning. Now let me ask you a question. Let's say we work for an organization and one day you win a lottery, which is 100 times of what exactly you are earning in that organization in 1 month. Are you still going to continue work, or are you just going to leave everything and you are just going to go? I'm very sure a lot of you must be thinking, then we will still work. And a lot of you will be thinking that I don't want to work because I have got the monetary benefits. Now, how does that entire complex process works? So a lot of you who are thinking that you are not going to work, that simply means you take work as a monetary benefit. You take work as money, as a source of income. But people who are still going to continue work even after getting a big lottery, that means you do not take work just as a source of income. Work is much more to you than just a source of income. Maybe it is social identity for you. Maybe it is something which is very personal to you. Maybe it is monetary benefits as well as the culture of the organization. Maybe it is the respect for you. You take your work as respectful. You take your work as a social work. Sometimes people have different perspective towards work. There are different ways. There are so many researches that are being done on that people perceive work in a very different way. For some people, work is just a source of income. For some people, it is not at all source of income and it's a mix of other things. For some people, it is a source of income. At the same time, it is culture of organization. It is a form of social identity and so many different things. We all are humans. Our interests are different. Our principles are different. And that's why we take work in a different way. And that is very individual. That's a human touch to this particular scene. So that's how it actually works. So it becomes very, very important to focus on other aspects as well and not just on the monetary benefits. So when we say employee benefits, it includes all compensation other than the base salary. For example, paid time off, life insurance, medical insurance, leave benefits. When you are a part of an organization, there are so many things such as casual leaves, earned leaves, sick leaves, maternity leaves, paternity leaves. There are so many things. Then wellness programs, employee assistance, educational benefits, retirement savings. There are so many, when you talk about taxation as well, there are so many things in that. When we talk about TDS, that is tax deduction at source, then once the tax is deducted, then there are so many things that you can be a part of. Insurances, medical, health insurances, how that entire process works. That is also nothing but a very, very important function of an HR, human resource department. So it includes your monetary benefits as well as your non-monetary benefits. And there are two things which are there in this when you are actually deciding what should be the compensation. Number one is your internal alignment, where you compare the job role with the other job roles at the same level within the same organization. Then external competitiveness, where you compare the job role with the other organizations within the same industry so that you can be relevant in the corporate world. So that's how compensation and benefits bit work. All right. Now let me tell you what exactly is training and development in human resource management. It is one of the most important functions in the HR department. But what exactly is the need of training and development? Why are we even spending so much on that? What is the need for it? And then what are the different methods to train the employees? How do we go about this entire process? Let's find out in this particular module. So as you can see on the screen, the training and development helps to keep employees' skills and knowledge up to date for doing a particular job, which in turn helps to boost their work efficiency and an organization's productivity. Whenever we are talking at an organizational level, there are always some changes. Sometimes in technology, sometimes in the product, sometimes in the rules and regulations of the organizations. According to those changes, we have to adapt. We have to learn new things. So we need training. When we enter into an organization, we have to make sure that the employees are engaged. They know what they are going for. They know what are the mission, vision, the core values of the organization. For that also there is a training. If there is a promotion, for that also we need to train the person so that he can take that particular role that we have given that person. So that's the basic idea behind training and development. Let's figure out what exactly is the need for training and development in detail. So as you can see, point number 1 is that training is provided to the new employees so that they can learn about the organization's mission, vision, laws and regulations and working conditions. You are hired, you are selected, everything is done. We have given you the offer letter, everything is done now. Now, what exactly is the need of training and development? When you are coming to an organization, it is very important for you to feel that you are a part of the team. You should feel that you are a part of the organization now. For that, we have to make sure that you are aware about the vision, mission, the core values of the organization. If there are some basic rules and regulations that you should know, that also is a part of the basic training. So all of that is actually nothing but your onboarding. This is the basic training whenever a new employee is coming to the organization, is selected and is going to start with the work. If there are some technologies, there are some prerequisites for the work that we are going to do. All of that is discussed in this particular phase. Then second point is employees are provided training so that they can share the obligations of a higher level job. If one person is promoted to a higher level job, they may not know how to manage those people. They may not know how to manage those teams. So there are some leadership programs and different programs and trainings and development programs within the organization. Why do we do that? So that they can take full responsibility of that higher job level. That's how it works. Then the third point is, if there are any technological updates, training is provided to cope with the changes. Employees receive training on how to adapt to new work procedures. Let's not go so far. Let's just take an example of the COVID pandemic era. So if you talk about before COVID, there used to be work from office. But after COVID hit the world, and it was very reactive change that we all had to go through, we started working from home. Each and everything just got changed within a few days itself. How do we cope up with that? We have to train the employees to make sure that the efficiency and the effectiveness is not decreased. We have to make sure that the entire process is productive, and for that we need to do training and development of the employees. The last point is that existing personnel are given refresher and enhancement training. It's not just about fulfilling the organizational objectives, it is also about fulfilling the individual needs. So when we are talking about the organizational growth, at the same time, individuals will be the employees will be looking at their own growth as well. So for that, we have some personality development trainings or personal development programs as well, where the employees can learn too. So that's how this entire training and development thing works. And this is the basic need for training and development. Now I will be telling you a very beautiful method for training and development, which is called ADDIE model. There are actually so many models today which are more complex than this, but this is actually the source of all those models. This is one of the first model that was established in the history basically, and then all the models are nothing but the modification of this particular model. This model is a systematic and step-by-step framework used by instructional system designers, trainers, and developers in order to make sure that the course development and learning do not occur in an unstructured manner. When we are going to train the audience, the employees basically, we have to make sure that the training is very, very structured. We don't have to confuse them. We have to improve their performances. That's the main idea behind it. So ADDIE in general is nothing but an acronym for analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. What is analysis? Needs and objectives are established in this part. How do we do that? So first of all, you need to analyze that what exactly is the need for this training. Why are we going about it at the first place? Let's say we are training people on a new technology, but why are we doing that? What is the reason behind that? That analysis is the first phase of this entire training process. Then comes design. Once you have analyzed that this is the reason we are going to train people on this and this technology or this in this particular course, then you need to design the content. You have to decide what will be the learning objectives, what will be the specified needs that we are supposed to meet at the end of this particular course, this particular training. Then the session structure and the resources are identified too. Then development. Once we have decided that this is the content that we are going to deliver, then we need to develop that content. What will we cover at the beginning? What will we cover at the end? What is the best thing to cover that particular course, to cover that particular training? What are the skills required for that? That entire development phase. Then comes the implementation phase, which is nothing but delivering that content. What is the best way to deliver that content to the employees? Who can deliver that content? All those WH questions are nothing but part of your implementation phase. Then comes evaluation. So initially we knew that there's some need. Whether that need is met or not, that thing is evaluated so that we can improve our training programs for future. Let's say we had this need of making sure that people learn about this particular technology. So at the end, we will evaluate whether people have actually learned or not. So if there are any quiz, there are anything like that, any kind of tests or anything, those will be part of nothing but your evaluation phase, so that you can kind of collect a feedback on how actually was the training session like. Did it really help people or it didn't? To analyze all of that. So this is one of the most beautiful methods for training and development of employees called ADDIE model. All other methods are modifications of this method. There are more complex methods in which there are more than 5 steps also. In this, there are only 5 steps. But all those methods will in one way or the other will be following the ADDIE model itself. So it's very important for you to understand this model. That's how trainings are actually done within an organization. All right. Now, the next very important functions of HRM or human resource management is nothing but performance management. So once the people are hired, we have understood compensation, training, development, everything. But how do you evaluate the performance of the employees? They have the right skill set, but what exactly are the results? Are they doing the right things at the right time in the right possible way or not? How do you evaluate all of that? That is nothing but part of your performance management, and it is a very, very important function when we talk about human resource management. So let's see what exactly is performance management first of all. So performance management is nothing but the process of continual communication and feedback between a manager and an employee towards attainment of organizational objectives. As I have already told you, whenever we are discussing about any functions within the HRM or human resource management, 2 things will always be common, that is meeting organizational goals or organizational objectives and meeting individual needs. So you can now be very well aware of this part. So one thing that is unique about performance management is that it's the communication part between the managers and the employees, how the performances are evaluated. So let's see, once people are a part of the team, their performance has to be managed. Why? What is the need of performance management? Point number 1, to evaluate and assess what they are doing. They have the right skills, but are they doing those things in the right possible way? Are they doing the things at the right time? How exactly are they approaching the work that is given to them? The job basically. Point number 2 is to give them direction. If we will not evaluate their performance, employees will never get to know that where they are going wrong and where they are going right. So they will not have a direction. So to give them a direction, it becomes very, very important to manage their performance, to evaluate and give them feedback. Then to figure out whether they are engaged or not. Performance management is a very good capture to find out whether the employees are going to retain within the organization or not. If the employees are invested in the job, if the employees are satisfied and are happy with the job, they are going to retain. Otherwise, they will not. So that's a very good capture of performance management as well. Then to evaluate their skills and abilities. Once we evaluate, we see the feedback, we manage their performance, we get to know what is the part that they are best at, what is the part that needs to be improved, and then accordingly we can design the training and development sessions as well. So this is the need for performance management. Now let's see that how this performance management cycle actually works. So in this, point number 1 is planning. So whenever you're talking about performance management, first step is setting goals and success metrics for employees and communicating the same with the team. Expectations should be very, very clear. What are you expecting from those employees? What are the goals that they need to work towards? What is their vision? All of those things should be very, very clear when you are talking to the employees. So you have to set the goals and you have to communicate those goals to the employees. Then monitoring. Once goals are set, then those goals are actively tracked and accordingly feedback is given. Whether you are meeting the goals, whether you are not meeting the goals, based upon that, feedback is given and monitoring and supervision happens. Then developing, using the obtained data, that is feedback, to improve the performance of the employees. Once you get the feedback, you need to see what are the things that most of the employees are lacking. What are the things that the employees are best at? And accordingly, you design the training session. So basically, you can use that feedback to improve the performance eventually. Then how this rating works, tracking and rating the performance. So peers ratings are there. Then employees give ratings to their managers. Managers give rating to their subordinates. So that's how this entire process works. So that each and everyone can rate others and eventually they can get to know that what exactly is their performance. There are self-performance cycles as well where you need to rate yourself, self-ratings basically. Then rewarding, recognizing and rewarding the good performance. The best part whenever we are talking about feedback is you have to make sure that it is given constructively. So if you are stretching about the good part, you have to stretch about the bad part also. It can't be a one-way street. If you are talking about, if let's say there's one person, he's not good at something and you find out, you need to train that person, develop that person. But at the same time, if one person is good at something, that needs to be recognized, that needs to be rewarded. So that's how this entire process works. You have to plan, you have to set the goals, you have to communicate those goals to the employees, then you have to monitor those goals, whether people are meeting those goals or not. You have to track that entire process, you have to develop, you have to plan, you have to take feedbacks from the managers, from the employees, from the peers, and then rating happens and eventually training and development sessions are organized to improve the performance. And if there's somebody who's doing really good, those things are rewarded and recognized. That's about performance management. All right, let's discuss about employee engagement. So when we say that the employees are engaged, what will be the result of that? What is the difference between employee engagement, employee satisfaction, and employee commitment? All of that we will be exploring in this particular module. As you can see on the screen, that engaged employees are those who are committed and are enthusiastically involved in their work and workplace. That means they have a connection with the work, with the job that they are doing, and at the same time, they feel connected to the organization as well, to the workplace as well. If you have to see that what is the difference between satisfaction, commitment, and engagement, just look at these three sentences. Employees are happy with their work. That means the employees are satisfied. They really like what they are doing. That's it. But if we say employees are attached to their work, they are ready to do something extra for the work that they are doing. That means employees are committed. That's called employee commitment. But if we say that the employees are actively invested in their job, they're ready to go that extra mile, they're ready to do some extra work for the workplace, for the job that they do, they really care about it, they take their work as their identity. Those are the kinds of people who are engaged employees. That's nothing but your employee engagement. There's a small note that employee engagement is one of the most popular predictors of job performance. So managers should try to create conditions resulting in employee engagement. As an HR, employee engagement is one of the most important functions that you have. You have to make sure that the employees of the organization are engaged, are invested in what they are doing. They should be actively invested. Only then their job performance is going to improve. And if their performance will improve, they are eventually going to retain within the organization. The main idea behind this entire concept of employee engagement is to retain the people. Hiring is important. Selection, onboarding is very, very important. But retention at the same time is also very important. If you are going to hire people, you are going to train them, develop them, and eventually they are just leaving. That is not going to make a very good sense. That's why if we are hiring somebody, we try to make sure that their performance is improving over the period of time. They are helping the organization, and at the same time, organization is helping them fulfill their individual needs. Because psychology, needs, all of these things are different for people. So that is also fulfilled, and at the same time, they are also a very good resource for the organization in meeting the organizational objectives. So it's a give and take policy, as we have discussed. So if the employees will be engaged, definitely their performance is going to improve. Their performance is going to be better day by day. And if the performance is going to be better, they will retain within the organization. So the main idea behind employee engagement is nothing but to make sure that the employees that we are hiring are going to retain within the organization and their performance is going to increase day by day. All right. So now that you have reached the summary part, I'm really happy that you have reached here and you have covered each and everything about human resource management, the importance of human resource management, and different functions involved in the HR department. So we started with resources. That what exactly are resources? Those are nothing but your inputs, which gives us something productive. That something can be a product or a service. We have seen that land is a resource, raw materials are a resource. And then we also saw that people are also one of the most valuable and most important resource for any organization. Those are your human resources. Since human resources are so important for any organization, it also becomes very, very important to manage those human resources. And managing human resources is nothing but your human resource management. Then we have discussed so many functions within the HR department. We started with manpower planning, that how the human resource department people have to plan that how many people are required for a particular job. What is the optimal number of people who will be good to do this particular task or a project. Then we go for job analysis. We have to analyze what is the KSA, that is knowledge, skills and abilities required for a particular role. And then based upon those competencies, we go for recruitment and selection. Recruitment is the advertising part, attracting people, and selection is selecting the people, selecting the best candidates out of the shortlisted ones. All the interviews, group discussions, that is a part of your selection. So once the best candidates are selected, then we go for onboarding. Basic training is provided to the employees to make sure that they are aware about the vision, mission, goals, and core values of the organization. Once onboarding is done and people are a part of the team, they are a part of the organization, we have to make sure that they are given proper salary, the monetary benefits as well as the non-monetary benefits. For that, we have discussed compensation and benefits part. Then we also saw how their performance is evaluated. What are the different steps involved in that? In that, we have seen that performance is very, very important to be evaluated to make sure that the proper feedback is given in the most constructive form. Feedback is given to the peers as well as to the employees and to the managers as well. Employees will be giving ratings to their managers and managers will be giving ratings to their employees. So that's how this entire process works. And eventually we discussed about employee engagement, where we have seen that employees should be satisfied and happy. But being actively invested in the job is something which is required when you are an HR. Because if you are hiring a lot of people, you have to make sure that they are invested in the job, their performance is going to increase so that they can retain within the organization. We have seen that employee engagement is a very good capture of job performance of the employees. So all these things are nothing but your functions of HR department, human resource management. Now there are two things which are always common whenever we are discussing about human resource management. First thing, meeting the organizational goals. And second thing, meeting the individual needs or employee needs. In this way, it will be a give and take policy. Whatever roles you are making, whatever regulations, whatever strategies you are making as an HR, you have to make sure that you are aligning it with two things: individual needs and the organizational goals. If these two things will have a good balance, then eventually the entire process is going to be very, very productive. So that's all about human resource management. Thank you. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell so that you don't miss out on any new updates or video releases from Great Learning. If you enjoy this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, so make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on the video for any queries or suggestions, and I'll respond to your comments.